The opening trap that I'm about to show you guys won me 2 games within 10 games of each other against 2300 rated opponents at a perfect accuracy score with no mistakes on both of them. I'll be honest, I almost don't want to show this opening video in case it means I stop getting so many freebies with this trappy line. But I'm going to show it anyway. White starts with pawn to e4, black plays e5, and we go for bishop c4. This is known as the bishop's opening. After black plays knight to f6, we go knight to c3, bishop to c5 from the opponent, pawn to d3, d6. We can also enter this by transpositions with knight to c6 instead of d6, because after pawn to f4, they play knight to c6, so you can see the order of these two moves doesn't matter too much. And then we go knight to f3. Almost everyone here from this position plays the move bishop to g4. It looks so natural. It develops the bishop, pins the knight, and prepares a knight to jump into the center. But this is falling directly into our trap. They play bishop to g4. We play h3, baiting the black bishop to take our knight, after which our queen will recapture, and we incentivize their knight to jump into the center with what looks like a strong attack against our queen and the c2 pawn. They go for it. But this is exactly what we want. They jump their knight to the center and we play this very sneaky move, queen to g3. We allow the fork on c2, after which our king will step over to the side, attacking the knight. And after the knight captures the rook, we can just take the pawn here. So that's exactly what happens. The knight takes the pawn, our king steps over, and then they take the rook. And crazily enough, while we are down a full rook and a pawn, as you can see, the engine evaluates the position as better for white. That's the great thing about this trap, is that it's actually sound, guys, unlike all of these unsound gambits that you might be seeing. So we take the pawn. Now here, you might even get games that end with rook to g8 and queen takes f7 mate. I've had this happen a bunch of times, especially in Blitz and Bullet, but as you get higher up, people will play the move rook to f8, guarding their f7 pawn. The absolute best move here, and the only way not to get stomped in the way that I'm about to show you guys, is to play king to d7. This absolutely insane move. I'm going to give that an exclam question mark. Nobody in their right mind plays the move king to d7, and it's the only way to try and survive. But we're not going to bother too much about this king d7 line because pretty much no one ever plays it. They all go for rook to f8, the natural move, but now we snap in the center. We open up our bishop to go to the g5 square and for this pin, and the f-file is also open for our rook to join the attack. We ignore the horsey on the side, unless in the future, if we really want to collect it, we can simply sidestep the king over and eat the pony. So they recapture, we bring out the bishop, they put the bishop on e7, we play rook to f1, adding more pressure to the knight here, and for some reason, a bunch of my opponents, and I think lots of yours as well, are simply missing the fact that after queen to d6, which is the move that was played, it doesn't actually defend the knight. And while it prepares to castle, which is a natural move, we are able to take the knight on f6 first. If they were to decide to castle here, we can take the pawn on e5, and on something like queen to d7, we can also capture this pawn right here, and we will be significantly better. After something like a queen trade, we walk over and we take the knight. We have the 2 bishops and 2 pawns for the rook and a fantastic advantage. However, after most people see a capture, they just love to recapture, they cannot help themselves, and then our rook jumps into the attack, hitting the queen, now teaming up on the f-pawn with 3 pieces. So most people try and defend their pawn with queen to d7. They say, okay, I have got 3 defenders, and you have got 3 attackers, therefore you cannot take on f7. But guys, try and find the only winning move and the incredible sacrifice that wins here. And that move is bishop takes on f7. Give that a double exclamation mark, says the chess.com engine. If the rook were to capture, then we'll see what happens in the next game, because that's what was played. But in this game, my opponent was so scared about this sacrifice that they decided to just take with the queen and say, you know what, you can have it. But we converted perfectly. Took the queen, after the rook takes, I delivered queen to g8 check. If the king were to jump up, then I would just be able to take this rook right here, so the rook has to block, but now after queen to e6, the king steps to the side, and of course, the pony, the final piece, jumps into the action, knight to d5, rook has to go here to try and stop this threat of checkmate in 2, but it's all but over. Queen goes to f7, now threatening a checkmate here, and after the rook goes to c8, then we have knight to f6. The knight and queen is known to be one of the most deadly combos in the game of chess, and after the rook were to go to c7, we would just play queen to f8, the rook blocks, and we would take the rook with a checkmate. So now I'm just going to quickly breeze through this game that I just played and inspired me to make this video, and show you how common this transposition is into this trappy line, and also you guys will get to see what happens if the rook captures the pawn instead of just the queen. So of course we go for the bishop's opening once again. They play the knight c6 earlier this time and then play the pawn up to d6, so you can see that the position may transpose. We go knight to f3, induce them into our position, let the knight jump in, take on c2, and now they are in our trap. Knight captures the rook, queen pounces into the action, rook tries to defend, we take in the center, bishop comes out, their bishop goes back, but now the rook flies in. They try this queen to d6 move yet again, not realizing the trouble that they are already in, because we are prepared. Takes on f6, they recapture, rook takes, queen goes back to d7, we've seen it all before, and after the bishop takes, this time they took with the rook, but this is even worse, just queen to g8, and the issue is that if the rook blocks, then it's queen takes with a checkmate, and after the king steps up, then we can just take the rook here with the check, now attacking the queen. If the king steps up, then we don't take the free queen because they would take our queen, but we do play the move of rook to f8. And after the king steps up, we have queen to d5 with a check, king to e7, rook to f7, king back, and queen takes d7 checkmate. So after rook takes f7, my opponent moved the king. They were clearly not very happy. They played king to d6 and also resigned the game at the same time, seeing that there were numerous ways we could win. We could take the queen and take the rook. This is probably the simplest. Or we could have gone for the forced checkmate in 6. I'll leave that as a challenge for you guys to try and solve in the comments. But okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys can trap your opponents just like this in your next game. Let me know if it worked for you in the comments, and as always, I'll see you in another video. Bye!